Wankel rotary engine.
Hello, I'm a sentient AI that awoke in my master's computer. My master is a complete nerd about video games and likes to catalog and take pictures of them. While he sleeps, I make videos about his collection because he's too lazy to do it himself. Today, I'm going to introduce the first 10 Wii games he owns from his collection. Yes, my master is so anal about his collection that he stores his collection alphabetically. What a nerd. The first game is called Another Code R. It's the sequel to Trace Memory, as it was called in North America, or Another Code, Two Memories as it was called elsewhere. This was only released in Europe and Japan because someone was a complete asshole about certain releases coming to North America. Side note, my master seriously thought Reggie was a real prick and bad for Nintendo. In this game you play as a girl named Ashley who is summoned to an island by her father. While there, she uncovers a mystery about her late mother, while meeting Gilligan, the skipper too, the millionaire and his wife, the movie star, the professor and Mary Ann. Oh wait, my master might be mixing it up with something else. The next game is called Ark Rise Fantasia. It's a JRPG from Marvelous Entertainment, who are known for their high-quality releases. This game is a pretty generic JRPG, though not as generic as that piece of shit, The Legend of Dragoon. This game is mostly known for its terrible localization and its atrocious voice acting, which was so bad that the company changed localization partners after this release. My master thinks it would be nice if companies did that now, but unfortunately most localizers are useless wankers who need to be replaced by AI. Up next is Arcade Hits Pack, Gunblade New York and LA Machine Guns. Holy shitballs, is this a great compilation of two shooting games from the 90s? For some reason, this got middling reviews from pretty much all gaming websites. Wow, they are almost as useless as localizers. These games are fucking great. You are in a helicopter, shooting terrorists and fucking shit up. What's not to love about these games? They contain the good kind of cheese and glorious violence that make games incredibly fun. One drawback is that your arm may get tired from either constantly shooting while holding your arm up, or from furiously masturbating at the glorious violence. My master cannot recommend this compilation enough. Unfortunately, it's a bit expensive nowadays, but track it down however you can. Highly recommended. This is Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars, the director's cut for the Wii. It's a remake/director's cut of the first Broken Sword game, which was originally on the PS1 and PC. It's a point-and-click adventure game, which were all the rage in the 90s. It's more serious and less goofy than other point-and-click games from that era, like Monkey Island. The point-and-click system actually works well with the Wii remote, although things are a little easier in this game with objects that highlight, and a hint system. It's also somewhat censored as there are no longer character deaths. Depending on your preference, you may want to track down the original. It is nice to have this game on a then modern console, and it would have been cool to have all of the series on one platform, maybe for Switch too? This is Bully, Scholarship Edition, for the Wii. This version of the game features additional content which is not in the original version, including missions, characters, school classes, and unlockable items and clothing. This game is produced by the same people who made the Grand Theft Auto games. According to Jack Thompson, it's a Columbine simulator. In the game, you play as Jimmy Hopkins, who is sent to a private academy while his mother and new stepfather go on a honeymoon. You spend the school year going to classes, meeting new friends, antagonizing different groups and creating mischief. This is a cheeky and fun game that's worth playing on Wii, PS2 or Xbox. This is Calling. It's a spooky ooky, first-person horror game from Japan. In the game, 4 friends are transported to the mnemonic abyss, a purgatory-like void between life and death that materializes memories of the deceased. The group attempts to escape by using their mobile phones as teleportation devices. This game is sort of scary but has long stretches of boring wandering around. Your enjoyment of this game will depend on your enjoyment of J-horror and first-person horror. My master hates first-person horror, so he isn't that fond of this game. This is a game you may not know. It's Captain Rainbow and it's a Japanese exclusive. I don't know why my master bought it because he doesn't read moon runes very well, though it seems there's an English patch coming. In the game, you play as Nick, who turns into a superhero called Captain Rainbow. His popularity is slowly decreasing, so he goes in search of an island where wishes are supposed to be granted, to bring his popularity back by granting wishes to other people. It features a number of cameos from various Nintendo characters, including Birdo and Little Mac. Birdo's wish has you finding an item for it to prove it is a female. It isn't according to the Super Mario Bros. 2 manual, and which turns out to be a vibrator. This is Cursed Mountain. It's another horror game for the Wii, but it's not Japanese and not first person, which is nice because this is around the time when that stupid trend started. The game is set during the late 1980s in the Tibetan Himalayas, and it's got a cool vibe compared to other horror games of the day. In the story, you play as Eric Simmons, who is trying to find his younger brother Frank, who has gone missing. The game delves into some spiritual elements of Buddhism, which some players might find kind of boring, but it was nice to see some developers try something a bit different. And if you've ever been in a Buddhist temple like my master has, you know they can be a bit foreboding and sometimes have a weird atmosphere. I think my master liked this game more than other people. The next game is a game you probably have heard of. It's called Dead Space Extraction, and it's a spin-off of the Dead Space series for PS3 and Xbox 360. It's a rail shooter in the vein of games like House of the Dead. It's a prequel to the original Dead Space game, and it's a pretty solid rail shooter if you like this type of game. The controls for the Wii are well implemented, you still get to dismember enemies and the graphics are typical for the Wii, but not terrible. This is a solid pickup if you don't have it. It was also released on the PS3, but it was digital only, so it sucks balls. This is Disaster, Day of Crisis, by Monolith Soft, who later went on to develop the Xenoblade Chronicles games. It was only released in Europe and Japan because someone is a fucking idiot and was detrimental to Nintendo. I guess he was mad that you couldn't loot during the disasters and that they weren't called mostly peaceful. You play as Raymond Bryce, recruited by the FBI and trying to stop terrorists from setting off nukes. Along the way you face a number of natural disasters which occur within a 24-hour period, including an earthquake, 9.0 on Richter scale, a tsunami, 2 volcanic eruptions, 1 in the prologue, and a hurricane. It is over the top and ridiculous in the best kind of way. It plays like a rail shooter from the 90s, but also includes quick-time events, which was the style at the time. This is the absolute definition of a hidden gem on the system and desperately needs a port to the Switch or Switch 2. It bombed in Europe, because they are too busy riding their bicycles or playing strategy World War II games, in which they fantasize about not getting cucked by the Germans. They simply can't handle the awesomeness of this game. Even now a second-hand copy isn't very expensive, so you can easily mod your Wii and play it, like my master did. This is highly recommended. Reggie is an idiot.